I'm Coyote Peterson. This is Mario Aldecoa. One of these two reptiles is here, and the other is a crocodile. Do you know which is which? Stay tuned, because we're about to show you. Welcome back, everyone. Okay, so what I have in my hands right here, this is the American alligator.
And what I have in my hands is the American crocodile.
And right now we're in South Florida. What's really awesome about this location is that this is the only place in the world where these two reptiles' territories overlap. However, catching these two animals was far easier said than done. Let's take a look at last night's catches. There's something right here.
Where is it? Hold on,
Right there, right
I don't
in
see
front
it. Stay right there. Let me see if I can get closer. I got a shot on him, so if you want to go for it.
I got it. 1, 2, 3. I got it. Nice. I got it. Woo! Great grab. Woo! All right. Yes. Wow. Well, that right there is the first piece of the puzzle, the American crocodile. Now we just need to find an American alligator. Got an alligator right there.
Oh yeah.
All right, full weight going into this. This is one of those things you don't think about it, you just do it. Ready?
Yep.
1, 2. Got him. Got it. Woo! Just barely got right behind his neck. Watch your fingers. Here we go. Bringing him up. Wow. There it is. All right, now we got to get the American crocodile up close with this American alligator. Oh man, this is awesome. Look at those teeth. Man, those are some pretty epic catches last night, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, how cool was it to catch an alligator and a crocodile in the same night?
Certainly a first for me. Now, this is great because it's giving us the opportunity to answer a question that a lot of people write in and ask me. I'm sure they also ask you. What's the difference between an alligator and a crocodile? Most people look at a reptile like this and think, oh, it's one and the same. But not really. Once you get them up next to each other, you can really see that they're pretty different looking. Now, obviously, these are both reptiles, both crocodilians, and both have been on the planet for what, over 200 million years?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Their lineage is prehistoric.
So we're pretty much looking at dinosaurs here.
Oh yeah.
All right, so first let's look at the differences in snout structure, because this is probably a really easy way to identify these animals in the wild, correct?
Yeah, that's how I identify them. It's very easy. Crocodiles have a pointed, narrow snout. Alligators have a broad, round snout.
Yeah, look how broad that snout is, and that has to do with the type of food that they're eating.
Absolutely, yeah. Crocodiles are more coastal habitats, so they're gonna be eating fish, and they want skinnier jaws to potentially thrash around and grab the fish.
Right, and I can see that with the tooth structure. Those look like little shears. I look at the alligator, and of course we know that alligators are opportunistic. Raccoons, deer, pretty much anything that comes across these jaws, and they have big, broad jaws for crushing their food, pretty much. They crush and swallow things whole. Now, one other similarity that all crocodilians have is a nictitating membrane, and that's really cool. This is kind of like a built-in set of goggles for when you're underwater hunting. Now let's talk about the color of these reptiles, because that is also very distinct. You'll notice that the alligator is very dark in coloration, almost black, and I would imagine that this helps to stay camouflaged in dark, murky water, as well as probably being able to help it absorb sun. As we know, reptiles are ectotherms, meaning that they need the sun to heat up their bodies so that they can go out and be active. The crocodile, however, is much lighter in coloration. Why is that?
Because of its environment. So these guys live in coastal habitats, and they're gonna blend in right with the sand.
Yeah, you'll notice that just this coloration in the scutes and the scale pattern does almost look like sand. I mean, an alligator like this, if it was in a dark dark, murky swamp, you could look straight down at it and not even see that it's there.
Yeah.
Obviously helps it catch its prey once it comes up to the shore, and boom, they lunge out of the water to grab something.
Another difference, take a look at all the scales on the croc and the alligator, especially around the tail. So these are what we call scutes. And if you see, the crocodile has really pronounced scutes. They're longer. The alligator has shorter ones. And those scutes help them propel better through the water.
Yeah, you can see that the alligator's tail is much more knobby in design, whereas the crocodile's tail... How about that for an explosion of power? Yeah, you really need to keep your hands locked on the neck of the alligator and its jaws so that he doesn't get my fingers in his mouth. But you could maybe see right there just how their tail can quickly whip around, and that is all muscle.
This kind of leads to a really common question I get as well, and that is in their temperament. Crocodiles tend to have a very bad reputation. They are considered more dangerous than alligators. But that's not true here in Florida at all. American crocs are actually really shy animals. Alligators are a little bit more bold here in Florida because they're more common, and sometimes they're found in more residential areas.
Right, so they're kind of accustomed to being around humans. But even still, in both of these instances, these animals are not out there looking to actually eat humans. Oftentimes, I know when it's an alligator attack, it's mistaken identity. Somebody that's swimming in the water, dark water specifically, you're thrashing around, you're going to seem like a wounded animal or a fish, and as an opportunistic feeder, and the alligator's going to go after you.
Correct.
Now, aside from the physical differences between these two crocodilians, there is something that you need to know that you can't physically see. The American crocodile is actually considered endangered here in South Florida, while the American alligator is just protected. Far more likely to come across one of these beasts than you are a crocodile. If you're out there in the wild and you see a slender snout, consider yourself lucky, because it's probably a once in a lifetime. I'm Coyote Peterson. Be brave. Stay wild. We'll see you on the next adventure. You're gonna let these two crocodilians go?
Let's do it.
See you later, alligator. In a while, crocodile. If you thought that was a cool comparison, check out the differences between the alligator snapping turtle and the common snapping turtle. And don't...
Want to end ocean pollution in 6 seconds? Here's how. Stop using straws. See, something like ending ocean pollution may seem impossible to solve, but we can solve it. And we don't have to do anything that big. We can do little things. Because right now, you're part of the largest generation in...
I'm Coyote Peterson, and today, we're going to show you the difference between the common snapping turtle and the alligator snapping turtle. I oftentimes question whether or not there is a predator in the wetland ecosystem that is more perfectly designed than the snapping turtle. Try to imagine yourself as a fish out for a morning swim, and around each and every lily pad you turn, there may be a set of bone-crushing jaws waiting to meet you. Snapping turtles rule their food chain, and the wetlands of America are their kingdom. There are two very distinct types of snapping turtles that have multiple species within their respective genera. To keep it simple, we will talk generically about the common snapping turtle, which grows to an average weight of 30 pounds and is native to nearly the entire eastern half of the United States, parts of Mexico, and Central America. Then there is the larger alligator snapping turtle, which averages close to 70 pounds, a threatened species whose range has been reduced to the southeastern United States. These reptiles are truly ancient, and today we are lucky enough to have both of these species on hand so we can give you an up-close look at their distinct differences. This is Adam Ramirez, the true turtle man of Louisiana, and what we have for you guys here are our two distinct dragons. Now, as you guys know, I'm from Ohio. I'm used to catching this guy right here, the common snapping turtle, or as I refer to it, the mud dragon. Now, what Adam's used to working with is this guy right here, what they refer to as loggerheads. the alligator snapping turtle. So, you said this is about the average size of the common snapping turtles that you guys get down here, right?
Yeah, that's about the average.
Now, for me, this is a small common snapping turtle. Now, I know a lot of you have seen our other videos on snapping turtles and you thought, gosh, these alligator snapping turtles seem really, really calm. Now, as soon as you get an alligator snapping turtle out of the water, handle it gently, put it on your knee, they really do calm down. Is that what you experience, Adam? Almost all of them, after they've been captured, figure, okay, the more I struggle, the more energy I'm going to waste. The common snapping turtle is a much more aggressive species than the alligator snapping turtle. Let me see if I can get him to strike here. Whew, yeah, you see how fast that head shoots out of his mouth? Now, the alligator snapping turtle, I'm going to keep you away from my nose, doesn't ever really strike his head out. See that? He'll open his mouth up wider and say, go ahead, get your hand close to those scissor-like jaws, but he's not even going to actually strike. You see that? I can get my hand all the way in front of his face. I don't recommend you ever try that at home with either of these turtle species, but the point I'm trying to prove is that the common snapping turtle is much more aggressive than the alligator snapping turtle. The one major difference between all snapping turtles that makes them separate from other turtle species is that they cannot tuck their extremities into their shell. You see how small the plastron is on both the common and the alligator snapping turtle. You have all of this exposed. That's why they've developed these incredible defensive techniques. And you see both turtles have their mouths open right now, both of them ready to bite if we get our fingers too close. But look at the bite spread on the alligator snapping turtle as compared to the common snapping turtle. Huge difference there. Alligator snapping turtles hunt by laying on the bottom of slow-moving creeks and rivers with that little worm-like appendage. You see that right there? In the base of his mouth? Looks just like a worm. Now that's how these turtles hunt, because they're ambush predators. Common snapping turtles are nomadic predators, which means that they're going to move about in a body of water looking for their prey, actually hunting it down before they catch it, kill it, and consume it. Now, the carapace is the top of the shell, and you can see that the common snapping turtle has a much smoother appearance as compared to the spiky appearance of the alligator snapping turtle. Common snapping turtles typically inhabit ponds like you see behind us, and alligator snapping turtles are usually found in slow-moving creeks and rivers. Now, the common snapping turtles have these large, pointy osteoderms on their tails. Now, osteoderm is just a piece of bone covered in scale. You see it really looks like the spikes on the tail of a dragon. You see the osteoderms on the alligator snapping turtle are a lot smaller, and as these turtles grow and their tails get bigger, the osteoderms actually get smaller, which is the opposite with common snapping turtles. As a common snapping turtle continues to grow, its tail gets fatter and the osteoderms become more pronounced. Now, if you look at the nose of the common snapping turtle, it's short and blunt. The nose of the alligator snapping turtle is much longer. And these turtles, all they need to do is stick their heads up out of the water, body stays completely submerged. They can use those little eyes as periscopes, look